Pledge of Allegiance. Mr. Football, you do that.
Do we do it? All right. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Play ball.
See, that's why you need to do it anyway.
Can you?
All right. C, election of chairman and vice chairman. I'll turn that over to you, I guess, Andy.
Yes, sir. This is the time of year where every year we vote on a chairman and a vice chairman. So I'll take it for a second, and we'll accept nominations for chairman. If anybody would like to nominate anybody. Mr. Bubba Perry nominates Ken Hessen.
Second.
Is there a second from Jeremiah Bennett? Is there any? You don't even need a second. Is there any other nominations? Then I'd say Mr. Hessen is the chairman by acclamation.
Yes. Congratulations.
Sir, what about the vice chairman, sir?
No, now you can take it back.
I don't want it back.
Mm-hmm.
Vice chairman, do I have any nominations for vice chairman? Who is that? Who'd you say? Jeremiah? All right.
Jeremiah.
I've got a first, I've got Jeremiah, and do I have any more nominations? All right, if there's no other nominations, you're the man.
All right.
You're the man.
There you go.
I will say this about the chairmanship to you guys. 28 years ago, I guess, maybe longer, I was chairman of the Parks Board, and Dave was the main guy. Dave called me that afternoon. He said, "You still want to be chairman?" I said, "Dave, I'll do whatever you guys want me to do." So, long story short, that didn't work out. Somebody snuck around and got somebody else nominated, which was fine. Here I am back again. But I'm telling you that, tell everybody on this board that as long as you need me, I'll be here. I will be here thankfully, and I will consider each one of y'all my friends, except for Jimmy Head, and he'll have to pay me. Okay, we have a change of the agenda under the 5 and G. Food Truck Fridays has decided that they're going to wait until a later date to come in here. So I'll accept a motion to accept that as it is. Mr. Bennett first and Mr. Pike second. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? As so changed. Okay, now then I'll need a motion to accept the agenda as it is now. That'd be Mr. Pike, second Mr. Head. Boy, we're moving right along. Now I got to go to the bathroom. No, I'm kidding about that. All right. The minutes, approval, I've got a couple of those. Approval of the minutes for December 16th. If you had a chance to look on Mr. Golden first. Ms. Hellman, second. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? I've got approval of the special call meeting minutes. Mr. Bennett, second. Man, I'm too quick here. I'm sorry. Who was second on that?
I think we can do them both at one time.
All right, both of them one time was good. Okay.
Golden first, Hellman second.
There you go. Goldman and Hellman. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed. Very nice. Items for approval. TUSC Semi-Pro, Jonathan Whalen.
Comments first. Public comments.
Oh, well, he's
No,
already
sir.
told me,
There are
but I
none.
didn't tell everybody else.
Okay.
All right, good enough. TUSC Semi-Pro, Jonathan Whalen.
Step on up.
Push the attaboy. State your name and tell me what you want.
Jonathan Whalen, Tennessee United Soccer Club. We are putting together it's basically a semi-pro kind of college summer team with the purpose of providing a place for our former college players to come back and have some place to train and play, starting kind of into spring through the summer, but also potentially allowing us to be able to develop and recruit young coaches into our program through the enticement of playing on this team. So we're looking to put this together starting late. Well, we've got tryouts coming up in February, but the season will start in late March, run through June right now, and so yeah, we're looking for a place to practice and potentially play some games.
All right, questions? Mr. Pike?
My only question would be, I guess it's to y'all down there. With it being, we have a lot of things going on in the soccer field, do we have, I'm assuming we have, I know we want to have room for this, do we have room for it?
Yeah, I think their plan is to practice this team after their youth practices on nights they're assigned the new turf field.
Yeah, we're looking to do this either before or after our training sessions, so these players can then stay and help train our teams, or come early and train our teams.
They're also hoping to play games at the Hendersonville High School's soccer stadium, which they've been having conversations with the high schools, both here and on other campuses. But we sure would like for them to play all their home games in the park. So if anybody has any pull with the Hendersonville High School soccer people, maybe we can help nudge them to work with us on that.
Okay. Any more questions?
Jonathan, can you describe the UPSL? What is it, and what league the teams will be playing?
Yeah, UPSL is it's one of the leagues on the pyramid tier of professional soccer in the U.S. It's kind of a fourth division league. There's no, from our standpoint, there's no payment or anything like that. We're just again, we're trying to provide a place and an opportunity to train and play for these players, as well as give them an opportunity hopefully to coach for us. But the average age is about 22 and a half. We'll be in a league with it's kind of a Kentucky, Tennessee, Southern Indiana type of league, so the travel's very minimal. It's basically 12 or 13 games, and this will be our first step into this. But there's probably at least two other teams in Nashville, and Bowling Green has a team, Jackson has a team, Chattanooga has a team. So it's the travel and league competition is relatively close. So.
Any more questions? Do I hear a motion to approve? Mr. Perry first and Mr. Pike second. Any more discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Appreciate your time.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
Mr. Wiggins on the next agenda is running a few minutes late and asked if he could be bumped down to the bottom. He is stuck in.
Say that. I'm sorry, I'm an old guy.
Mr. Wiggins, the next
Okay,
item
move
on the
that.
agenda asked to be bumped down till he was running a few minutes late. It's item B.
B goes to H. Good enough. All right. Under C, middle school state non-sanctioned Blair Bickerstaff.
It's also Blair's birthday tonight, if everyone wants to wish her a happy birthday.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, my name is Blair Biggerstaff. I am part of the coaching staff for the Ladybucks middle school softball team, Knox Doss and TW Hunter. We are wanting to host a middle school non-sanctioned tournament for all the non-sanctioned teams in Tennessee. The estimated number of teams for our first one is roughly 10 to 12, and then hopefully if we get this going as the years go on, we can add more to it with a 2-pool guarantee or a 3-game guarantee, 2-pool single elimination. We would charge the teams $250 entry fee, and then use our gate fee for the umpires. Yeah, that's about it.
Mr. Chairman, this has come to us because the TSSAA, in their infinite wisdom, decided that it would be a good idea to move the sanctioned state middle school baseball and softball tournament to Kirkwood High School in Clarksville, Tennessee this year after we've hosted it since it existed. They didn't put it out for bid or anything. They just decided they wanted to go to Clarksville. So, I'm not real thrilled about that. and some other decisions that they made recently. But, you know, Sumner County schools, for example, are not sanctioned for middle school sports for one reason or the other when it comes to baseball and softball. They are sanctioned in like right now, they're sanctioned in basketball, so they got TSSAA state tournaments for basketball that Sumner County schools can qualify for. They have other sports that the county has sanctioned in middle school. But we have not sanctioned in baseball and softball. So even though we were the hosts these last few years, our own middle school teams that we host the leagues for couldn't even qualify for it. I hoped when we got that state tournament that maybe that would kind of nudge the county on to kind of sanction middle school baseball and softball because it's a good experience for those kids. But that's not happened. So I think, you know, for them to do this, there are other counties that are not sanctioned also. That are across the state that probably will show up. And we may have a better tournament here than the state tournament, to be quite honest. And that's, you know, that's good. I hope it accomplishes the goal of replacing some of the economic impact that we might have lost to Clarksville by not having that here. So I appreciate these ladies presenting this idea. If and when the time comes, we can get with the baseball coaches and maybe try to put something together for baseball. We might try it. I didn't really want to push it this year because I really was not sure if we'd have our turf redone yet or not, to be honest. And it looks like we will. So potentially next year we might throw baseball in the mix. But appreciate you coming up on your birthday and spending it with us.
Well, if this gets okayed by these guys, we already got the best ones here anyway. So.
Of course.
Question?
Yeah, Andy, with you saying that, would this kind of be the same weekend, so we're just gaining the tournament?
Theirs will be a different weekend. It's earlier. They're trying to do theirs earlier. The sanctioned one is in late May. Gets around graduation times. So we've got the field space to do it. We you know, they're aware of what fields we have and what that would have to cap their teams at. Or cap their teams at. You're not supposed to end a sentence with a preposition, right? But they're aware of the field space. So I think we're good, and it's not weekend for weekend, but it will help.
Get back at TSSAA. I did. Motion, Mr. Golden. Second, Mr. Head. Now then, more discussion? No more discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Well, they said that hardly too, didn't they?
Thank you.
Thank you
guys.
for coming, ma'am.
Yeah, thank you.
U.S. Baseball Academy softball program, Mr. Tolliver. Good morning.
Mr. Chairman, while they're on their way out the door, we need to recognize Jasmine in the hat. That's our new administrative assistant. I know she didn't get up and speak, but
Sorry, Jasmine.
she's
I
going.
come to see you the other day and you were gone, so I don't know.
I think they're headed to celebrate a birthday now.
Oh, good.
Yep.
State your name and what in the world do you need?
My name is Andre Tolliver. I'm the U.S. Baseball Regional Director in Tennessee. We do summer baseball camps. Our mission is to help young players develop solid fundamentals and proper techniques at a young age. U.S. Baseball Academy camps are the perfect choice to help the young players learn, improve performance, and achieve goals in a fun professional environment. Our camps are in June. We wanted to have a camp in June in Hendersonville, June 23rd to June 26th, from 9 o'clock to 3 at Drakes Creek Park. My experience, I was a high school player, college player at Grand Canyon College, and I got a little chance to play a little professional baseball. And we've done these camps, we've hosted these camps in Antioch, Franklin, and Nashville. And we love to come to Hendersonville and give some skills to the kids and develop some good fundamentals to take with them.
Questions?
I'll speak if you want me to. Mr. Tolliver has been good to work with. He understands that what our field availabilities are during this time of year. The one thing we asked him during these dates was to be off of the dirt by 1 o'clock of the 2 or 3 fields he was using, so that our maintenance guys could have time to drag and line it for anything we had that night, which he agreed to. So at 1 o'clock, he'll go to the batting cages around the fields or in the outfields. And then also part of his application was to donate $10 per player that signs up back to the Civitan Club.
So being off at 1, should that be part of the motion, sir?
It's in the application.
Oh.
So I think we're good.
Who will I donate it back to if I get accepted?
The Hendersonville Civitan Club. We'll make sure you get connected with the proper people. That's in the application also, so.
Oh, okay.
I'd like to make a motion, we approve it. I think it's
All
great.
right, Mr. Perry approved it. Mr. Pike, second. Discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Thank you, sir.
There you go.
All right, thank you. Appreciate you guys.
Yeah.
Hendersonville Pedal Kids Bike Camp, Mr. Gilly.
Let's see, what page in the packet are we on? Page 22 is where this starts in your packet. Sorry, page 21. Before Wade left, Wade and the mayor and I have met. This idea was, we have a lot of things sent to us, pitched to us, cold called to us, emails we get about stuff. You know, a lot of it ends up here, a lot of it does not. Wade, the mayor, and I met with this company 3 times to kind of hear what they offer. One of the gentlemen that is one of the instructors that lived in Nashville for a period of time. We entertained it because we felt that, number one, we have a large bike community in Hendersonville. Number 2, we are starting to add more and more greenways and bike lanes and things in Hendersonville. And number 3, we're about to have a bike pump track in Hendersonville. And number 4, I think all of us have noticed, for one reason or another, you know, I would say a decline in the number of kids that either know how to ride a bike or get out and ride a bike, for whatever it is. Maybe mom and dad doesn't teach them. Maybe they can't afford bikes. Maybe it's just not what people do anymore. I don't know. Maybe it's not as safe as it used to be to go out and ride your bike like it was. But anyway, we met with the folks from this camp, and we also called several cities that they have been to. And I don't know if you know anything about the bike community, but their address, if you see it, is Bentonville, Arkansas. If you look up in Bentonville, they have an amazing bike pump track there, in addition to Walmart, I guess. But I feel comfortable about it. It's a little bit of an expense to bring them here, but they are putting this expense into, right now it's proposed to be in our mid-year budget, and then the city, we will collect the revenue from the registrations to offset the expense. Right now we're looking at doing it for 2 weeks. We have a meeting scheduled with the company. We may narrow that down to 1, we'll see. But I would ask your approval. Each camp, each week will be an hour long, and there should be 3 or 4 camps per day. So you're looking at 4 different groups of kids for 1 hour per day for a week. I think it's something that we can't do as a staff. We're not trained to do it. We don't have the bicycles to do it if somebody needed a bike. So I wouldn't have brought it up here if we didn't think it was a good idea to try it.
And anytime we can get somebody else with more expertise in the matter than we do is a pretty good deal anyway.
I think so, yes, sir, for sure. We're not sure of the exact dates at this time. We still have to narrow those down. And location, we've looked at doing it at the covered hockey rinks, actually, to make sure that it doesn't get rained out. We are looking in the month of June to bring them here. We wanted to do it when school was out.
So if they bring their own, you bring your own bike on this, and they would have extra bikes if somebody, let's say, couldn't have a bike?
Correct.
Okay. Any discussion? Do I hear a motion to approve? That'd be Mr. Montoya. Second, Mr. Head. Any more discussion? All in favor say aye. All opposed?
Thank you all.
They say it's as easy, you know, like when you falling off a bike.
That's what they say.
I rode a bicycle for the first time in my life Saturday, and I fell right off. So
glad you're
it's
here then.
not the same.
Did you wear a helmet?
I still have that thing, but don't worry about it. It's okay. Music City Disc Golf, Mr. Hoy. State your name and you can tell me what you want.
How's it going? I'm Zachary Hoy, President, Music City Disc Golf, and we really like Sanders Ferry Disc Golf Park and want to be able to bring events. Music City Disc Golf is a 501c3 nonprofit, and we do teach clinics. We also take an amount of the entry fee, donate it back to the city of Hendersonville Parks, and we also have volunteers that basically help with park projects and things like that. And we have a specific event in March 2nd that we want to do, but we want to be able to do parks and run them in the disc golf course.
Music City Disc Golf, Mr. Chairman, has been a great partner for us. I just want to recognize them publicly while I got the chance. Those new baskets that we have at the disc golf course came from them. They have done a lot of work down there. It's been a while since they've actually run their own tournament here, so that's why Mr. Hoy is here tonight to get back on the plate as a tournament director. I think that'll make the third different disc golf group that we deal with that host tournaments. We have now Music City Disc, if they're approved, Sad Dog Discs, and Discin' Disciples. So we have 3 different tournament groups operating disc golf tournaments, who all donate back to the course with volunteer time and with funds, so we appreciate that.
I think we ought to talk more about the clubs that, I bet you people don't know about all the improvements that we've had in our parks because of the kindness of the clubs, so I think I'm talking about them now, so I guess we're doing it. That's all right. All right. Make a motion, Mr. Bennett, second, Ms. Hellman. Any more discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Thank you. Let me give you a little history. The first, they love this, the first deaf baseball player was named Dummy Hoy. He was the first one, and he has actually contributed with setting up the signals for baseball. So it's probably you, but
My
that's
uncle
okay.
had studied that guy, and he was trying to get him elected in the Hall of Fame and help write letters to him for that. So,
Good enough. Thank you, brother.
Thank you.
Thank you. Civitan Tackle Legends of Tennessee Football Camp, Mr. Mallard. That boy of yours is not going to try to whip me, is he?
He might. He might.
Oh, boy.
So, for the ones that don't know me, my name's Ricky Mallard. Been involved with coaching sports for probably 9 years, roughly. It's my wife and my oldest son, Hudson, my wife, Kelsey, oldest son, Hudson, my youngest, Halston. Both play 3 sports in Hendersonville. Just so y'all know me, because I'm probably going to be coming in front of you quite a bit, but I've spent my whole adult life in law enforcement. I'm currently the SRO at STEM Preparatory Academy in Nashville. Done 20 years in the National Guard, a lot of deployments. I dedicate all my time to the youth, and that's my passion. Is dedicate my time to the youth. So I'm glad to be standing here, over the football program, because I got a big vision. Because the way I see it, that's a vision of the way our football program, is a reflection of the city. So I want to grow it bigger than it's ever been, because this is ultimately our kids, it's going to be competing for, state titles one day for every school in Hendersonville. So, that's my goal, is to make it bigger and better than ever. And, so this is why I'm bringing to you. I want to bring something big to Hendersonville. And I was given some bad information, so there was a little bit of stuff put out by them when I got approved to do the camp, because I had to fill out paperwork to get approved, because it's, you know, through the University of Tennessee. So the way it works, the dates we have set for the camp is May 9th and 10th. So the 9th is a life skills symposium. So they come in the night before the camp. They set up at 5 o'clock for registration. They'll have, you know, they'll have stuff set up where they sell apparel for the University of Tennessee. And then they speak to the families and the kids involved about how to be a student athlete, how to be successful student athletes in high school, how to be good teammates. You know, they speak from 6 to 7:30. Now this is, I didn't put a lot of the information out. I did make a flyer that I put out on our social media. So this is Legends of Tennessee. So it's all, you know, players that were legends at Tennessee. But on top of that, they bring their current coaching staff, not all of them, but they'll bring current coaches. They bring players, current players. Boo Carter's going to be there. Sure y'all know who Boo Carter is, the #1 recruit in the nation. So this is a really big deal. You know, the Saturday morning, the registrations will start at 9 a.m. and camps from 10 to 12:30, and then they feed the kids. The registration fee that this is, you know, put out by them, which is negotiable. You know, I can negotiate with them on this. So the fee is $120 right now. So that money goes to camp shirts for the kids. I actually got them to raise it from 150 kids to 200 kids, just because I know, like, it being Hendersonville, I've had a lot of people reach out to me already. With them fees, they feed them lunch, they give them camp shirts, they get to meet all these players, coaches, and it's a real skills camp. So, I mean, everything from speed and agility, offensive and defensive skills. You know, they do team building stuff to teach them how to be good teammates. And so they have this camp. Once they feed them, that night they have a meet and greet dinner. I'm still working the details out for that and a location for that, but it's they do that, and they do a where you have a dinner. It's an adult only dinner. I've talked to a few places, talked to Bluegrass, but it will be here. So I'll have to help them book hotels. So the money raised, that's part of the thing the fees go to, booking all the coaches and players' hotels. So that night they will have a meet and greet dinner wherever we figure out would be the best location for the dinner, and they'll sell tickets to it. It's a private event, and I just feel like it'd be really good for the kids, and it's a start to bringing, you know, something like this to Hendersonville, because I feel like I want to get Hendersonville up to speed where they should be with their, you know, youth tackle football program. And I think this is a big start. This weekend I'm actually having a dance at Beach Elementary that was fully sponsored for the public. It's, you know, open for anybody. It's a family dance. So I'm wanting to do a lot of events, you know, just to get out there in the public and build our program.
If you ever seen me dance, you wouldn't want me at your dance.
I'd love to see that.
No, people would pay to see that. Discussion?
So out of all of the different events, what you're specifically asking us for is Drace Creek football from 8 to 2, whatever day.
So I'm
that's
asking
the part that is in the park.
Yes, sir.
Right? Okay.
The camp from 9 till, you know, after they get done eating their lunch. And another thing, Mr. Head, you can open concessions for the event. I mean, families can stay. They said you can open concession stands. We get all the money for that. You know, they donated. He was telling me the last camp they were at, they donated $2,500 back. It depends on the turnout. They donated it back to the program, which with me, I'm not doing it for the money. I'm not doing it to raise money for our program. I'm doing it for, for the kids. So I'm willing to donate, money back to the city, to the parks. I know I spoke with Mr. Gilly. So they prematurely put out that we was doing the synopsis at Hendersonville High, and I didn't tell them that, but he told me they had to put something on the schedule when they booked it on their website. They had to put Hendersonville. So he said closest thing that popped up was Hendersonville High, so he just put that. Well, I guess there was a lot of emails sent out, like Hendersonville High didn't know anything about it, so I apologize for that, but I didn't tell them to put that. They just put it. But, I told Mr. Gilly that, willing to donate money to Hendersonville High also, for their, using their facilities and everything.
All right. Mr. Spike?
I guess one question, I guess this is for Andy. How do we navigate the sale of, just refresh my memory on this, of them selling merchandise? That's true, but
I didn't hear what he said.
how we navigate, do we have to do anything different navigating them selling merchandise at a booth? I know we do it in softball tournaments, but
Yeah, they would, as part of this event, also need to have wherever, if they're going to sell merchandise, which we all, I think, are smart enough to know in today's world that this is going to give NIL money. That's why they're doing these camps all over the state. And then if you go on their website, they've got fancy fundraiser dinners and cigar nights and football camps and everything so that they can pay their players.
Dances.
Not the Civitan Club, the University of Tennessee, because we have to beat Ohio State next year for sure. So if they have merchandise to sell at our event here in the park, whatever group, I don't know what they call it, the VFL fund probably is what they call it, would just need to pull a vendor permit, like a food truck would, or like somebody does when they sell beads at softball tournaments. That's how we would work that. From here, if you all approve this, did you find out about field? Is it open?
it is.
That's Mother's Day weekend, so we really don't have a lot of stuff going on that end of the park on Mother's Day weekend. So if they were to overflow from football, we would have probably the outfield of Field 1 available if it's dry. Because I do anticipate this will probably sell out. I know when we had the University of Tennessee baseball camp, I think 3 years ago, it was wall-to-wall kids. And that was before, they were what they are today. And Mr. Mallard and I will be going to visit with Hendersonville High School ourselves to ask them to help us with space, since it got prematurely posted by the University of Tennessee that it would be at Hendersonville High School, and I had to have a good phone call yesterday afternoon about that. So if that at all possible, they will partner with us on it. I do feel confident about that.
Couldn't hurt, could it?
No.
More discussion?
And if I can add also, it's gonna, I did tell him that the event, the dinner, the hotels, everything has to be booked in Hendersonville. So I'm accommodating him. I'm looking at, I think, the Hampton Inn's been recommended. And like I said, I've talked to Bluegrass. I'm talking to some other restaurants. So everything will be held in Hendersonville. So it's going to bring money into Hendersonville.
And that's another thing that our people, the three guys that watch this, I don't think they pay enough attention to the money that brings to Hendersonville by the hotels and the restaurants and all that. It helps out a lot. Any more discussion down there? Do I have a motion to approve? Mr. Heads first, Mr. Bennett second. Any more discussion? All in favor say aye. All opposed? Thank you, young man.
Thank you.
Keep that kid off of me. Don't even think about it. All right, and then number B that was moved down, fence ads for Civitan. You were scrambling, wasn't you?
My apologies for my tardiness.
That's all right. We took care of you.
But yeah, so as you can see up here on the screen, this is what we did last year. So I came to you about this time last year, requesting permission to put signs up on Field 8, 1, to help us block the car lights, 2, to help us generate some more revenue that goes back into the parks and also back into our program. It went well. We filled up the entire field. We sold them for $1,000 in the first year. We renew them for $750 each year after that, unless we need to replace the sign itself. The net on this was $13,000. And we're all volunteers, so we always like to talk about what's the lowest hanging fruit that we can grab onto to help move our program along. This is very, very low hanging fruit. It sells itself. It's what our league sponsors have wanted for years anyway, and now we provide it. So I'm here to politely ask for permission to do this on Field 9, which is right next to Field 8, Field 10, and Field 11. Now, we may not fill all of those up this go around, but it gives me kind of a 2-year buffer so that I guess I don't have to come back next year to ask for Field 11, so to speak. So we would start with 9 again, and 10 is thrown in there because we actually had some companies reach out that their target audience are the parents of 5 and 6-year-olds, so they want to put a sign on Field 10. And then Field 11 just is kind of the natural progression around the corner there. So as I said last year, I appreciate you guys allowing us to do this, and now we just would like to expand it.
Andy, question of you. I noticed we don't have an application as such for this.
There really is no official application for something like this. We have a whole advertising and sponsorship ordinance that was put into place. His application is basically on page 10, where he explains what the fence ads will be doing.
That will suffice then.
His, this program follows along with the guidelines in that he's telling you what the ads are going to look like, telling you how much they're going to cost, where they're going to be, and how long they will be up for.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Mr. Golden was first and Mr. Perry was second. Any more discussion? All in favor say aye. All opposed? You made it.
All right. Thank you very much.
Hang in there, brother. All right, financial reports. We got anybody here from La Crosse?
Oh, yeah.
Well, good evening. So I was thinking last year at this time when I appeared here, we were waiting for us what we thought was going to be some good news for La Crosse. As many of you may or may not know, the TSSAA voted to sanction La Crosse statewide, meaning the public high schools, if they chose to, could have La Crosse. Unfortunately, the county did not vote to go forward with adding La Crosse to the schools, and for some legitimate reasons. So for us, that has caused us to have to make a hard pivot to continue playing. The other option was either to shut down, and that was not an option, obviously. We still have kids, parents that want to continue. So the club is still ongoing. Our numbers are still pretty much what they were. They're around 75 kids. We've got some middle school girls that are interested. But what it has meant for the high school team is that, particularly the boys team, is that we are essentially now a travel team because varsity lacrosse, we are an independent varsity. We have JV as well, but we are prohibited from playing Tennessee TSSAA teams, which makes sense. So this year we will be visiting Kentucky, not Lexington, but Bowling Green, maybe Lexington for a game, and Huntsville, Madison, and Hoover, Birmingham, for some games. Very sensitive to our parents because obviously, whereas before I've worked with Dallas, we play some weekday games, but when you're having to hit the road, you've got to kind of spread those out and you play on the weekends. But everybody's still engaged. It has certainly opened up some different conversations with the schools now, because we are, you know, I've been coming before you for several years, and you know, when word got out around the state that Hendersonville was not going to be a TSSA 18, there was a lot of shock, because you know, we're one of the oldest teams in the state, right? So, but you know, fingers crossed, we're still having good conversations with all the schools, two in particular that have expressed an interest in allowing us to kind of, you know, begin to promote lacrosse in the schools. So, you know, we're still optimistic. You know, we're still playing lacrosse. We still got coaches that are moving here, young guys and gals that are excited about helping us. So, but thank you for your support every year. Our, you know, financially, as you know, we don't keep a big budget, keep balance. We keep our fees very affordable, because it can be very expensive, lacrosse, and our aim is to try to get as many kids playing lacrosse as possible. But man, I'm listening to all these reports. These kids have a lot of options. There's a lot of sports to play, which is great. Maybe that's why they're not riding bikes, Andy. They're playing sports. But any questions you have, I'm here to answer them.
I think you said it all.
Yeah. Thanks so much. Appreciate it.
Thank you, my friend.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Okay.
Civitan baseball, select baseball, all of that. State your name and what you want, or what you're going to tell me.
My name's Rob Winfrey. I'm the treasurer with Civitan Club of Hendersonville. We run the baseball program in the spring, the fall and spring flag football programs, the fall and spring softball programs, the tackle football programs, along with the cheerleading, and the basketball programs in the winter. I think that hits all those. We also run the concession stands for the baseball quad, the softball quad, Veterans Park, VPA, rugby, and the football. I think that's all of them. Just a couple highlights. We took in, with all those programs and all those concession stands, our income was right around the 1.2 million mark. Expenses was a little bit over 1.2 million, mainly because we had quite a few donations and park improvements that we donated to. Just a few things on the improvements. We had quite a bit of concessions equipment that we either upgraded or replaced. We have a field maintenance contract with the park, so that we help maintain our fields that we use with them. We also partnered with the parks to get an extra storage container, because, as everybody knows, it's having space around the park is hard sometimes. We also donated to the rugby lights, since we're kind of partnering with rugby, especially with our flag football program, to have more fields available. And then we had, so that Jimmy would not pass out, we got a air conditioning for the concession stand. We also donate to our local schools. We we partner with Miss Hamblin. I believe many of you know. She does a great program with Breakfast for Santa every year, and we sponsor that, so that there is no cost to any of the kids that participate in that program. And we've done that now for several years. She is absolutely wonderful to work with, and we are now sponsoring the Easter egg hunt that she does as well. Like I said, absolutely love working with Miss Hamblin. We also kind of keep an eye on our, especially the people within our programs, the families. Some of them come on hard times. We sponsor families during Christmas and Thanksgiving, do some shopping. That's the time when I almost get divorced from my wife, because she's doing the shopping for us and the Civitan as well. So I'm usually sleeping on the couch and around that time. But we make it through. So that's kind of the highlights of everything. But if anybody has any specific questions, I'm happy to answer them if I'm able.
I don't have a question. I just tallied it up. It's about $60,000 back to the park. So I think I'd speak to everybody here. Thank you for doing that.
Yes.
And we appreciate it and
Oh,
keep on rolling.
Yes. We hope to continue and do as much each year if we're able to.
All right, thank you, sir.
Thanks, Ron.
Thank you.
Hendersonville inline hockey.
Good evening, Dave Gillum here with Hendersonville Inline Hockey. Just a few things I wanted to point out on our expenses this year. You see on that report in front of you, line item for our park expenditures. That's about half of what we've totally spent on improving the tile surface that we have over at the inline hockey rinks. When we had originally spec'd those tiles, those were an indoor tile, and a lot of UV exposure on the southern end there has damaged those a little quicker than we'd anticipated. So we've replaced a third of each rink, or in the process of doing that actually. Those tiles have been sent over from Czechoslovakia. They're in storage right now, and we're currently planning to install those towards the end of February, maybe when it's a little bit warmer outside. So that's kind of the answer. Some of what's on the expense report there. One thing that I did want to note is I was contacted probably last week by a gentleman whose son suffers from autism, and we're going to experiment this season with having an autistic child playing some roller hockey, and so excited to kind of see how that goes. It's the first for us. We're not exactly sure how it's all going to work out, but let's give the kid a chance, right? Interesting tidbit. I thought just share. If you have any other questions, I'm happy to answer those.
Yes, sir.
I think I would speak for the rest of the board, I hope. Would you please keep us updated how that works out? It would be great if it works out. And
We'll be happy to.
Yeah. Thank you, sir.
Absolutely.
Sumner County Rugby.
That's being moved to next month.
I think soccer.
Oh, did I miss one?
No, I think so.
Rugby will be next month.
Rugby's in there. Anybody here from Rugby?
Next month.
Hendersonville Soccer Club.
Come on, Tiger.
Hello, everybody. So first thing I want to say is this year is our 50th anniversary. So it's pretty cool for us. Typically we do a festival in the spring, and in the fall we're going to do the same thing, but try to make it a little bit bigger, Dallas, but on the same field space. But Andy, you did mention about the food trucks. I might email you, maybe get some ideas. I know you've got a pretty extensive list there. But this past year, we had a pretty good season. We had a total of about 3,400 players. That's between the rec, the middle school leagues, and the adult league. Just looking here, park improvements, we always do the turf management, $8,000. We had a new fridge, freezer, grill we purchased, and then $51,000 we paid in maintenance fees to the city. But does anyone have any particular questions on the financials?
Question?
I do want to say probably this year, we'll be dipping into our savings. We're looking to do something a little bit extra for the players, the coaches, stuff like that. So don't be hitting me up if we have a loss next year.
Thank you, sir.
All right, thank you.
Thanks, Tom.
Mid-State Senior Softball League. Roy, why in the world did we put you last in this?
Well, I'm getting ready to address that issue.
I don't blame you. I'm just glad.
My feelings could be hurt.
Well,
I'm Roy Depew, by the way, if you don't know me, because,
they're hurt by me. You're hurt.
by the way, I got to thinking about you dancing. If you can't ride a bike, I wouldn't suggest dancing either.
I'm not going to try again.
I assumed that you moved me at the bottom. I'm going to take it as a plus because I figured I was at the top over the years because you figured I'd fall asleep sitting back here.
Everybody's been waiting, my friend. Everybody's been waiting.
Well, we want to thank you. It was a pretty good year for us again. We want to thank all of you. Thank you for the use of the park. We've had a great time here over the years and hope to continue. Our total revenue of $31,000 that we generated, gross revenue, was made up of 16 spring and summer teams, and then we had 6 fall teams. There was a total of 22 senior ball players out there. There's 3 divisions. Some of you may not know. There's 3 divisions starting at 50. They go to about 51. Then it jumps. Middle division is 52, which is the largest division. It has 7 teams in it, 52 to 63. And then our top division goes 64 on up. The top division this year will have 2 players in their late 80s. One of them's 89. I think one rolls to 90 this year. So now, there's definitely a difference in playing level between 40s all the way up to those 88. So it's altogether a different caliber of ball. We do have to be quite cautious as to who, like we're not going to let Bubba, when he gets the right age, come up and start hitting the ball. So he might hurt somebody pretty bad. But we do put some parameters on that. We ask, as they hit the different age levels, they move up a bracket, they move into a different division. That way the league continues to grow. New blood comes in, us guys that gets older and think we can still play ball, we get to play ball as long as we want to play. We don't turn anybody down. You know, we've had one coach in the past say we had to tell a fella he couldn't play because he didn't think he could see. Well, the coach is fired, so, you know, we don't do that. So if you want to play ball, it's your risk, and we do try to protect them. The pitchers you'll see on our expense list this year, a new pitching screen, and I think Bubba would tell you those are pretty valuable tools for us. So not many pitchers in those lower divisions get behind them, and if they get hurt, they get hurt. We can't help it. They do sign a waiver to protect us all. So anyway, our gross revenue was 31. You guys can see our biggest expense on there is our official fees, our umpire fees, and that's normal. You're playing a lot of games. There's 2 umpires to every game, and we try to keep that very reasonable. There's no other major expenses that you haven't seen before. We did, as I said, put in that new pitching screen this year, and they've held pretty consistent over the past. I think we've bought, since I've been involved using them, we've bought about 8 new ones over the years, and they get this last bunch got pretty torn up. Bub, I think you would agree that I know one of them out there, I thought that thing was going to come loose. But these guys are hitting the ball at 110 miles an hour at us, and I've tried to get Mike Pike back in, but I can't get him in it either. So, well, any questions on there? Anything you want me to cover? Any particular? We got there is an item at the bottom. It looks a little different for you. It's actually a prepaid expense. We got a deal on softballs. Brad McKenzie called me and said we got a deal on new softballs for the coming year that if we bought them now, they'd give us a nice discount. So we got them around $65 a dozen compared to last year. I think we went in and bought them a normal time around $72, $73 a dozen. So and they're great softballs, same ball we used every year now for the last 2 years. Very durable, a pretty hot ball. So, but that is really an asset on the balance sheet where it'll show, and I'll expense it as I roll into this year, so it'll show up as an expense for next year, but not this year. So any questions?
It warms my heart to know that if I decide to play in the seniors, there will be only 2 people in all of Hendersonville older than me playing.
Me?
Well, 3. Question? Thank you, Roy.
All right, thank you all.
Thank
Y'all
you
have a
for
good
your
evening.
service, though. Thank you for your war service, too, sir.
Well, thank you.
Mr. Roy, I'm sorry Keith wasn't here to make him put you at the top of the list.
Yeah, I tell you what.
You need to, it's Keith's fault.
They were waiting for you, man.
He normally makes sure you're at the top.
I got to go home and help the grandson do math homework, guys.
Still love you, man. All right, recreation, Miss Hamlin.
Yeah.
Thank you, Roy.
Thank you all.
All right, good evening. Currently, I'm doing my Raptors basketball. I've got like 43 participants. 8 of those are in the younger group, and all the rest of them are in the older group. So it's been a little bit challenging to have 30 kids out there trying to divide them up into teams and get them out on that court and play. So if anybody wants to come volunteer any night, I have schedules here to give you. Feel free. Darren Frank, Friday, they play Fridays at 5:30 for the younger group and at 9 o'clock on Saturday. And then the older group starts at 6:15 on Fridays and at 9:45 on Saturdays. So if you want to drop by and you're out running around. Our last weekend will be February 21st and 22nd. We do have an exhibition type game at Station Camp High School on February 4th that we'll be doing. And Darren Frank did ask me to come to his school again, but the dates that he had available just didn't work in the schedule for me to be able to head it up and be there. So I've reached back out to him to see if we can work out something else for that. If there's any other high school team basketball coaches out there, school wants to invite us to come, we'd be glad to look at dates and try to get out there to their school as well.
What was the date you said for the first one?
February 4th.
At Station Camp, right?
At Station Camp. Special Needs Egg Hunt will be coming up next. I'll probably be scheduling the first part of April. It is at Mary's Magical Playground. We have 3 different sessions. They are 3:30 to 4:15, 4:30 to 5:15, and 5:30 to 6:15, and we will take 30 per session. The only thing I want to say about that is, parents, if you are registering, please put your child's name when you register, not your name. Because when I read that and I see a 54-year-old, I'm like, one, either I don't know if that's parent or child, and two, I know most everybody that's participating in these things, and I'm like, I don't recognize that name. So the good thing about it is I'm thinking I'm getting somebody else interested, but then when they come, I realize it's the child, not the parent. So just try to make sure you put your child's name. Baseball will be coming up after basketball and then kickball. And the one thing that we're doing new this year is that when they register for baseball, they're registering for baseball and kickball. They do not have to play both. But the problem that I've run into in the past is I have maybe 5 new come on for kickball, and it's really hard to go back and order 5 new shirts without paying a lot of money for those shirts. So I'm going to try to get the orders together so I don't have to worry about that. So I'll have to make sure parents understand that this year as well. Any questions?
You've done good.
I will give you a schedule at the end, and I expect to see y'all come and visit and come see what we're doing. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Recreation, Mr. Fugate?
High school basketball championship game. High school basketball championship games are tomorrow night. We wrap up our last semifinal games tonight. Adult basketball has 2 weeks left before they start their tournament and championship. Adult kickball and adult softball registration starts next Monday on February 3rd. Registration for both will go until March 7th. Both have 8 teams max. Adult softball will have a A and B division. Adult softball pricing is $705. Adult kickball pricing will be $325. And then adult pickleball registration will start next Monday on February 3rd and run till March 7th as well. And we'll be offering a men's rec, women's rec, and a co-ed rec. Pricing will be $60 per team with the max of 8 teams per division. And that is all I have for you all.
Question? Thank you, Mr. Fugate. Special offense, who is Mr. Wade tonight?
Well, I will just let you know that we have received a lot of applications, a lot of very qualified applications, and we're in the process as a staff of reviewing those and hope to start interviews in early February for that position and hope to hire somebody by the end of February because right now I'm doing both jobs. And as well as Dallas has really pitched into and taken over managing our program supervisors, which is a big part of that job that nobody even realizes is a part of that job. Probably shouldn't be part of that job anymore, but that's the way it had to start to get the job. So that's where we are. We got a lot of qualified applicants. I think there's, of the 50 or so, I'd probably know of them 30 or 40 personally, so that's going to be a real fun task for me. But that's a great thing that people want to come work here.
Thank you, sir. Maintenance, Mr. Cole?
Yes, sir. We continue to work through kind of our winter list as we can, as the weather allows us to. I know that it's been real cold, these last couple weeks, and it's kind of slowed us down a little bit. You know, the cold did get us in a few buildings. We did have some pipes freeze. So far, we only know of one water leak, so if that's the only one, we're very, very fortunate for that. But we should know more in the next couple days. Like I said, we've been trying to knock some things off our winter list, and some of them Andy and I had gone through and kind of looked at some of the buildings for our AED signage to be able to show people that we've got them, you know, where they're at, so that, you know, if you're on one side of the building, you know that you wouldn't be able to see the AED sign from whatever. So we've been putting more signs up so that you know where they're at and you can see them and everything. Another thing Andy has task kind of maintenance with is just picking a park and really diving into that park and doing some upgrades and updates. And so this year it's been Memorial Park. So if you drive in there, you're going to notice we put all new traffic signs in, and there's several things that we're going to try and do to that park over the next couple months. We've been putting nets up. If you drive, well, you can't drive back there right now, but when you go back through the soccer fields, you know, we've taken a lot of the chain link down just because soccer balls keep hitting it, keeps, you know, knocking it all in. So we decided to go with nets, and it looks very good back there. And one of the last things is if you go out to rugby, whenever it does open back up, you'll notice that the parking lot's been expanded a little bit. With us doing that, you know, we kind of partnered with the rugby group. With us doing that, it added, I would say, 30, 40 spots, maybe even more, giving them the ability to get another row in there for some much-needed parking. So that was a great addition, and I'm glad that we were able to do that. So that's it.
Good. Thank you, Mr. Gold. Assistant Director, Mr. Long.
Thank you. Tennessee United has started up their new high school Sunday league. They've been competing for the last, 3 weeks now. So that's been good to have that as an addition to what we offer. And then rec soccer and Tennessee United will begin spring practice officially on the week of February 17th. And then 2 weeks after that, games will begin. Lacrosse has been ongoing with practice for the past 2 or 3 weeks, and their first game of the season will be in 2 weeks. So they start a little bit earlier than all the other spring sports. Rugby starts up this coming Saturday out at the rugby complex, and then lastly will be flag football will start late February, early March with their league, and that's about all I got. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Questions? Assistant Director, Mr. Bruce.
Yes, sir. Mr. Bruce sent this report. Youth basketball, we have now gotten all made up from the 72 games that we had snowed out last Saturday, thanks to all the schools for working with us on the last couple of weekends, on Sundays especially, to help get us in there, and everybody for being flexible. 2 more weeks of the regular season for youth basketball, then 2 weeks of the tournament. So we can see a light at the end of the tunnel there. Keith and the league and Dallas and Wade before him have done a great job this year of managing all the ins and outs of scheduling with the schools and keeping this league, which every day we'll get an email or a call that, you know, somebody's had to have this fundraiser, or this wrestling team qualified for the region, or this middle school team qualified for the state tournament. So we have to move our whole gym schedule around. We've been blessed this year. I think we have like 35 gym supervisors, where past years we've had 18 or 19, and it's been stretched thin, and we've had to have practices canceled or not scheduled in schools that we could have been in. So having those people has helped us tremendously. Basketball has been good. High school spring sports outside start February 10th. We hope that we'll be able to get on the fields then. We need some good weather between now and then, with the first softball tournament on February 15th. So we go from mid-February till mid-November and have a tournament just about every weekend. And then every sport that we have, I think, is having sign-ups right now. So I encourage you all to share with your people as leagues have sign-ups. We've asked them to tag us so we could share it. So hopefully they'll do that. That's Mr. Bruce's report with my supplements.
Question? Director, Mr. Gilley.
Okay, Trevor mentioned the AEDs. I'm glad he talked about that. One thing about that, the ones that we were able to move outside, our insurance company allows us to move an AED machine outside available to the public if a security camera is covering that machine. So we did that in the fall in all the places that we could. We'll continue to do that as it allows. However, what we and the school system has learned this year with all of the increase in the requests and needs for AED machines is that the cold weather runs the battery down. So we had to quickly come in and move several of those back inside for the winter, and we'll get them back out when the weather is good. The schools had to do the same thing because a lot of them had started putting them around their tracks and different things, and they were useless if the battery is running down. So wanted to give you that update. If you see one not out, it's probably inside because of the cold weather right now. We're continuing talks about our maintenance shop, trying the best we can to get moving on that. Public Works Director is helping greatly. With that, we're just trying to get to a design that we can go out to bid with right now, and that has been a challenge for the last 2 months. The Heritage Park grant project, we got our contract with TDEC. It is signed by our staff. We're waiting on TDEC to sign it. Then we will sign a contract for the design, and hopefully in 4 to 6 months be ready to bid the project. That's where we're at on that. The bike track or pump track at Veterans Park is 4 to 6 months behind that timeline, so it's a slow process. The Heritage Park one is state money. The bike pump track is federal money, so that is a little bit of a difference in the timeline on that. The Sanders Ferry boat ramp project is going well. They kind of took last week to stay inside and build the boat docks. We're talking with one of our local boat dock companies about possibly having their help to take one of our existing docks at Sanders Ferry that's in pretty good shape and potentially replace the dock at Mallard Point with it. We'll keep you all updated on how that goes, if that is able to be done. And then you'll see coming up in the next month the mid-year budget amendment. You all, part of your purview is to approve our budget, or recommend, not approve, but to look at our budget. I'll get you that amendment and point out the things that have been added in there. A lot of donations have come in this year that the Bowman will have to vote to appropriate to the right place, whether that be to go towards Mary's Magical Place or the tennis courts, or we have an anonymous donor in the community that's been very generous the last few years to the parks that makes an annual donation for various projects. So you'll see some of that in that amendment. Also, right now it's been recommended that we get funds for a new drag machine. We have 7 of those drag machines that take care of the infields, baseball and softball, and we've started to rotate equipment out in other areas. We've not been able to rotate those in and out. So hopefully we can begin that process of 1 per year till we get on a good pattern of having those replaced. And also I mentioned about the part-time workers we have in terms of maintenance and gym supervisors. There's an increase to our part-time salary line item that you will see, basically because of all the people we've had to hire to help us manage basketball, help us with maintenance, and in other areas. That's that for the mid-year budget. You all will keep being updated on that. You will also see in the month of February, at the end of February, we will probably be taking a grant application to Public Works and to BOMA for a 2025 LPRF grant. For the total value of the grant could potentially be over $6 million. The sales tax that the city voted to pass that goes to parks, public safety, infrastructure, and paving will help fund the city's portion of that, along with the land value at Durham Farms, to where the city could potentially only be responsible for $2 million of the $6.4-ish million, and the state would hopefully cover the rest. Just a brief list of potential projects. We have not made the final list, but we will make a list. Drakes Creek Park main quad concession stand rebuild, inclusive playground at Sanders Ferry Park, paving of the walking trail and parking lot at Sanders Ferry, renovation of the basketball court at Sanders Ferry, updated parks master plan, and a master plan for the Durham Farms Park property that we have not planned anything for yet. Design and engineering for a bridge that would get us to said Durham Parks property. Turf infields at Veterans Park 1, 2, and 3, and Drakes Creek Field 5. LED lights for the tennis courts. Veterans Park paving. Rugby parking lot paving. And a boat ramp and paving at Mallard Point.
Wow.
That's a significant amount of projects. If we can pull it off, I hope the state will accept our. Right now, we've made a request and we've given our intent to apply. They will send us back and say, yes, we approve that you apply for these projects. And then we have until April to get our act together and request BOMA to vote to allow us to apply. And I really appreciate the mayor and our COO who spent on the Friday of the snow. We went back and forth for about 6 hours trying to figure out what we could do on this list. So I appreciate that and their willingness to use the PIP funding, we call it, for our match. If anybody has any questions, I will take them.
You've done really good.
For today.
Mr. Mayor, did you have anything you wanted to add, sir? Round table, Mr. Head? Ms. Montoya? Thank you, Ms. Pike. Ms. Perry? Mr. Golden?
Super brief. When we have these annual reports, we get to hear from the different leagues. It just reminds me just what a really unique ecosystem we have, and the thanking the Parks Department for establishing these great relationships and all the volunteers across all the different organizations to offer such a wide, diverse sort of sports offering to our youth. And thank the mayor for recently getting the leagues together for a lunch as a way to say thank you. It's just a really good and working environment, and I just want to say thank you to everybody. So.
Ms. Hellman? Ms. Bennett?
I'm good.
In this lifetime, you ask people to pray for certain things. I'd like to ask for prayers for just the sweetest little 12-year-old that's really struggling. And she is very close to me. And just pray for her, if you don't mind. I need a motion to adjourn. Mr. Pike, second, Mr. Bennett. All in favor say aye. Aye. Out of here.